Pilgrims, and welcome to another episode of the Polygon Pilgrimage. Today I have something very exciting to share with you, and so we're going to jump right into it. So here we are in Substance Designer, and I'm going to just go ahead and create a switch material, or switch node rather, pardon me. So this is a switch node, which you may or may not know exists, so this will be kind of two parts. This might be interesting for you, and then I'm going to show you how we make it. So what we're going to do is create two uniform colors. I'm just going to duplicate this, change the color of this guy, and we're gonna line these up. So let's do this and this. There we go. Connected everything, and there we are. This bright sphere here now. Now what the switch node does is, on the node we have a property called switch, and it has a true or false, what's called a Boolean value. And a Boolean is true or false, 1 or 0, on or off. And right now it's set to true or on. So think of this as saying, is it true that the top input is going all the way through and we're ignoring the bottom? So right now, yes, that's true. If I click this and change it to false, you'll notice that our sphere turns to black, because now it's saying it is not true that the top goes through, so therefore the bottom must be true. So think of it like that. This is just a swap. So I have been working on a project where I needed to do something very similar to this, but I needed a lot more complexity and I needed sort of a waterfall effect, and there's not a current individual node to do that. So I actually looked into how the switch node works. You can actually look at the, where is it at? One of these, open reference. You can open the reference and actually kind of look at the back-end coding of this particular switch node. So that's what I did, and I learned how it works. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete this and we're going to make our own, because I want to show you how it works. That's how we learn to make more complex things. Even though we can just use a switch node, that's fine, but it's better to kind of open up the hood if you can. So here we go. We're going to do that. We're going to make a blend node, and we're going to pretend like it's already working. We're just going to hook everything up, and as you can see right now, just the top is passing through, but I have no options on this blend node to really make the bottom pass through. I could change some of the parameters and change the blending, but it's not really going to happen. So I need to find a way to make that work, and it's very easy, and so we're just going to make it work. Here we go. So we need to actually add some code, or add some FX type things, some functions to this, and the way we do that is we can expose these parameters. So what we're going to do here is go to the opacity, and we're going to expose this parameter, and I'm going to call this is top. Okay, so the lowercase is sort of a programming thing for saying, is this true? So we're just going to say, is the top being used? So say okay. Okay, there we go. Now you'll notice I can no longer affect the opacity by itself. It's saying, this is highlighted here, saying that it's now being controlled somewhere else. That's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to double click on the background, and this will give us access to all of our parameters for the entire graph. We're going to come down here, and you see how we have a float here of is top. That's cool. We need to make a Boolean as well. So I'm going to make another one. This input, we're going to call this input, is switched. S-W-I-T-C-H-E, there we go, is switched. We're going to make that a Boolean. So Boolean, again, is true or false. I'm going to set the default to be true. Okay, we're almost there. It's really this easy. Now, we're going to go back to this node, and here on the opacity, I'm going to say edit. And now you can see here we are in a different holy looking graph. Where did the rest of my stuff go? What happened? We're actually inside the opacity blend. We're inside that node's functions. So this is a whole nother graph separated just for this. And I believe you can see it over here if you look carefully. Where is it at? It's not over there. Okay, I'll have to look into where you find it, but it is here. And we can still go back. So you see here, we can still look at our main graph. No problem. It's still there. It hasn't disappeared. So here we have this, and we're going to start throwing down some nodes. But you notice these nodes are way different than what we're used to. These nodes are function nodes. So these are like programmatic nodes. Think of it that way. Okay? So what I'm going to look for here is I need an if. There we go. This is like a decision tree. I'm going to do a Boolean to get a Boolean value. And then I'm going to do a float. I'm going to need two float values. And this we don't really need. So goodbye. Okay. So what we need to do here is say, we need to get the status of that Boolean. So that Boolean that we do, I'm sorry, it's a get Boolean. get the status of a Boolean. So what Booleans do we have? Well, we pulled the drop down here that is switched. So we're going to get the status of is switched. So say, there we go, our condition is switched. And then we're going to do what if we do if it's true, and what do we do if it's false. That's basically all there is to it. So I'm going to put these two numbers here, and I'm going to change this float value to 1. I'm going to connect these up. And the reason we do this, and right click, this is important, right click and say set as output. So this means that it's now going to go back to our main graph. The reason this is important is what we are actually programmatically affecting is the opacity. So that's a float value. It's from 0 to 1. It's either completely opaque or completely transparent. So one of those two. So that's what we're doing here. And we're choosing to go either full tilt one or the other based upon the Boolean. So let's go back and we'll take a look. So as you can see now, here we are, and the bottom is going through, not the top. That's the inverse of what we had earlier. So let's go to our main graph here and check out our properties. So we're going to is switched to set to true. So if I switch that to false, look what happens. So now I'm saying false that they're switched. So we coded that a little differently. We coded that a little backwards, but we can fix it if we want. So let's say I want true to be top layer. Okay, then I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to switch these. So I'm going to say 0 goes there and 1 goes there. There we go. And now when I go back to my main graph, to my options down here, is switched, true, even though we called it is switched, you can call this whatever you want, but true, and now if I say false, then I get the bottom. There you go. We've essentially recoded the switch node, and I know we already have a switch node, so why bother? But what you bother is, you bother learning how it works, and this is exactly how it works. If you go to a switch node, I'll show you now, since we're already done, and we say open reference, say, yep, I want to look at it. If you look at this, it's just input 1, input 2, blend, output, and the blend has the opacity, and if I edit that code, here it is. Switch 1, 0, that looks exactly like ours. If I go here and say edit, switched 1, 0. So that's exactly what we did, and I know it's really simple and kind of, some people might find it kind of dumb to recreate what already exists, but I find a lot of value in looking at something that already exists, building it again yourself, because now you learn all the little nuances, like the 1, 0 on top or bottom, how that flips to tell you what you need. And now what I've actually been generating is sort of a cascading. So I have a decision tree based upon all of these different checkboxes and booleans we can have here. I have different ones appear or disappear based upon a higher parent type node being true or false. So you can create some really complex stuff, and all of that began because I looked at what currently exists and kind of opened the hood, so to speak. You get something new and you want to know how it works. So this has been really exciting for me. My new project is coming along really nicely. I can't really talk about it yet, but it's almost here, and it's going to be really awesome, and it uses a lot of these complex methods. So I've just been doing a lot of learning and trying to get those complex methods, in my mind and make sense of them. So I hope this has been really valuable for you guys. I had a lot of fun with it. It's super fun, and it's so exciting to learn something new, and that's really what the pilgrimage is all about. So I really encourage you guys, keep practicing, get better, and I'll see you next time as the pilgrimage continues.